Hi, I'm Moody, helping you to fish smarter, not harder. Today I'm going to cover an often overlooked aspect of your fishing, rod and reel cleaning and maintenance. Now before you click off thinking, I already know that, I have a few tricks up my sleeve that you may just find helpful. As a charter boat skipper for 30 years, I used to go through a ton of gear, and over time that costs you a lot of money. So the best bet is to look after it. It'll repay you with kindness when you get that once-in-a-lifetime fish on. Too many people lose that once-in-a-lifetime trophy fish due to badly maintained gear. Now, because I use my gear practically every day, I have 3 cleaning processes. 1, the basics, 2, a spring clean if you like, and 3, a full service. If you're going to be using your gear the very next day, and it's still functioning well in terms of a nice smooth drag and the spinning line roller, all you need to do are the basics. Namely, a quick rinse off with fresh water. But before you grab the hose, first tighten the drag right up. This will waterproof your drag and lessen the number of times that you need to service it. Spray it with a light mist of water if you can, and certainly don't force water full bore at it. Give it a good shake to remove excess water and then put it away to dry. Now remember, I said to tighten the drag. Make sure you loosen it off again after rinsing. Otherwise your drag washers will compress and they'll need a service before you know it. Believe me, when you're fishing every day on charter and have 10 rods and reels to deal with, the less often you need to service them, the better. So the basics will suffice if you're using your gear for 3 or 4 days in a row. At about day 4, you'll need a spring clean. You'll also need to do this any time you're going to store the rod and reel and not use it for a period of time. So for a spring clean, we tighten the drag, give it a sponge with warm soapy water to remove all the salt crystals and dirt. You can sponge the rod and guides down as well, rinse, dry, and then loosen that drag once again. But before we put it away, we're going to get some reel oil or Teflon oil on all the moving parts and give the bail roller a squirt and also under the bail arm. We also want to do the main shaft under the spool. To do this, what we do is pull off the spool, open the bail arm first, spool comes off, and then we simply put the drop of oil down the main shaft and oscillate it up and down, let that oil work in a little bit. There we go. Open the bail back up, slide your spool back on into the right position, and then put your drag knob back on and make sure you store it with your drag still loose. Do the same for a bait caster on all the moving parts like the level wind pawl and any other moving parts that you can access. Remember, these spinning and moving parts aren't just there for show. They reduce friction on your line so you don't lose that once-in-a-lifetime trophy fish. Before I put my gear away, I also like to check my guides and rollers for damage. A tiny nick on a guide can abrade or even cut your line, so make sure you check that closely. Someone my age, you'll definitely need glasses. And finally, give the reel a light spray with inox or equivalent surface protectant and wipe off. Try not to get these chemicals on your line as they may degrade your line over time and cause it to break. So will sunlight, so don't store your gear in the direct sun if you want to get that trophy fish to the boat. And don't expect your line to last forever either. I always like to replace my monofilament line every 6 months, even if it still looks okay. Braid lasts a bit longer, but don't just leave it on there and expect it to perform in 5 years' time. Remember, Murphy's Law suggests that a trophy fish is going to hit you when you're least prepared, so taking the time to look after your gear will pay off in the long run. Personally, I love these little quantum reels. They have an amazing waterproof drag system and I only service mine once every 50 or so outings. You'll know when your reel needs a service as the drag won't be silky smooth like this. If it's not silky smooth, it will catch and spool out erratically. This is the #1 cause of the one that got away, so don't let that be you. Most good tackle shops service reels, but if you want to do it yourself, I have step-by-step instructions on our blog. I'll leave a link on the page somewhere. I hope you enjoy this tip, and if you like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great tips and fishing action. For our day-to-day adventures, join us on Facebook and Instagram. Until then, get into the great outdoors and keep fishing smarter.